share a few thoughts on blind Bartimaeus. And I'm reading from the Message here. So if you'd like to go to Mark chapter 10, towards the end of the chapter, verse number 46. They spent some time in Jericho. As Jesus was leaving town, trailed by his disciples and a parade of people, a blind beggar by the name of Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, was sitting alongside the road. When he heard that Jesus of Nazareth was passing by, he cried out, "Son of David, Jesus, mercy, have mercy on me." Many tried to shut him up, but he yelled all the louder, "Son of David, mercy, have mercy on me." Jesus stopped in his tracks. "Call him over." They called him over. "It's your lucky day. Get up. He's calling you to come." Throwing off his coat, he was on his feet at once and came to Jesus. Jesus said to him, "What can I do for you?" The blind man said, "Rabbi, I want to see." "On your way," said Jesus, "your faith has saved and healed you." In that very instant, he recovered his sight and followed Jesus down the road. The key to this passage is verse 50. In the time of Jesus, beggars abounded in the streets of Israel, but there were very specific rules governing their rights and activities. Not everybody could decide to become a beggar and avoid honourable work because they were lazy. Beggars in that day were actually licensed to beg. The man who wishes to derive support through public begging was required to go to the authorities in his region, present himself in person along with documental proof of his disability or handicap. When the authorities were satisfied with the legal requirements were met and the disability was fully validated, a license was issued. From the account in Mark's Gospel chapter 10, we can be sure there had been a day in the life of the son of Timaeus when he approached the designated authorities, gave evidence of his blindness, and requested the desired license to be legally recognized beggar. Bartimaeus, after completing that procedure, would have received his license, which comes not in a form of a certificate that he could carry around in his pouch, but instead in the form of a certain cloak of a certain colour and style. Whenever he chose to participate in his privilege of begging, he was required to don the mark of identity, the beggar's cloak. It served as something of a uniform, a signal to those who saw him that this man was legally disabled and worthy of their almsgiving for his support. On that day, on the outskirts of Jericho, Bartimaeus sat as he'd done many times before, dependent on the compassion of the passers-by for their provision. Suddenly, there was something different that his keen hearing immediately perceived. The noise was more than usual. The ground started to shake, indicating a large crowd. What was happening? Something unusual was taking place. Leaning forward, as if he could to hear better, he caught the unmistakable voice of a neighbour getting excited. "The prophet of Nazareth is passing through," and his voice rang out above the din. Bartimaeus' heart leapt within him when he heard the voice. And then Bartimaeus shouted in a loud voice, "Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. Son of David, have mercy on me." He paid no attention to those who were seeking to quieten him up, But he called out even louder. This might be his only opportunity, and he would not miss it. The movement of people stopped when Jesus did. The master turned in the direction of the voice and said with authority, "Bring him here." The message was quickly relayed through the crowd, and as soon as Bartimaeus heard the invitation, he responded with an act of faith that touched the heart of Jesus. He casted aside his cloak. As the crowd parted to make way for him, Jesus had already seen the key to the immediate miracle. Before he could see with his eyes, Bartimaeus had seen something in his spirit far too more important. Something James would describe later in his letters with these words: "Faith without works is dead," from James 2 verse 26. On the strength of that simple message, he is calling you. Bartimaeus threw off his cloak of his disability, the identifying mark of his blindness, as if to say, "Jesus is calling me. I won't need this anymore." It was his statement of faith for the healing he desired. Is it any wonder that Jesus said, "Your faith has made you well"? What faith? The faith that has already been expressed by the act of casting aside the beggar's cloak. Amen. I just want to ask you one question. How does faith and works work in your life? Amen. Keep safe. Amen.